please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, subdates 230427.8. Our current heading takes us remarkably close to what is dubbed the Neutral Zone, a name that will change once I invade the next quadrant, dubbed the Seahorse Realm. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with Twitch and the streamer Kai. Kai is the most subscribed streamer on the platform. During a subathon month, over 300,000 subscribers. Bonkers, quite frankly. I know very little about Kai as a creator. I do believe content is uploaded also to YouTube as well though. Kai, over his many years on Twitch, has been given minor bans, or suspensions as is the correct word, for infringements of their rules. More recently, he's also been banned again. Now, this could be for one of a number of reasons. Endangerment appears to be the more prevailing opinion on this. The last time he received a ban, he did in fact say he was done with the platform, however, he came back a month later, and the last ban was 30 days. 3 of the last 4 were for only 3 days, so it's quite hit or miss, I guess. Reactions to the development range from bafflement to jokes about how Twitch disliked its rival Kick giving Kai a gift, which he opened during one of his recent streams. The gift was sent via his PO box. The gift was opened on stream and it was, well, not a contract, it was a shoebox, which seems a bit underwhelming. Kick logos all over the box. You'd certainly think there was something else to this, but actually instead was a pair of green Nike X Off-White Air Force Ones. Kick, for those who don't know, is a competitor to Twitch. They offer a very good deal when it comes to percentage split. I believe it's 95-5. Twitch is 50-50. I personally had considered going to Kick. I have an account there. I'll link it down below, but I have yet to do anything with it. Now, these kind of tantalizing gestures lend credence to the idea that they might ban him if he shows an inkling of abandoning ship. And while no official reason was given, there are some theories about why he was, this time, given a suspension. Hello everyone, Future Meg here. According to Dexato, whatever they're called, yeah? They have revealed that the streamer had been given the boot due to showing simulated sexual activity during a GTA roleplay session. And he has since been unbanned. They just love it when you're editing away and you find out that your effort's kind of redundant. Back to regular scheduled programming. In one of his more recent broadcasts, he rode a dirt bike indoors. Now, Twitch community guidelines explicitly forbid content that in any way endangers anyone's life or glorifies actions that could lead to physical harm for any reason. So it could be argued, riding a motorcycle through a living room qualifies for the definition of endangerment. The anti-endangerment provision is also at the center of the leading theory, explaining his first ban in 2023, saying the suspension was handed out within days of him passing out during one of his late January broadcasts. However, Twitch never confirmed it. They're not in the habit of commenting on individual bans or suspensions, so no one really knows. Now, streamers, many in fact, criticize that clarifications are insufficiently transparent over the years. Kai responded when he found out he'd been banned simply by tweeting the word ban. Many of his supporters are telling him to go to Kick. I personally think there are a number of issues here. Firstly, I don't think he'd willingly want to give up that fan base he built on Twitch, because it's not likely the majority will go to Kick as well. Trying to get other people to go to alternative platforms is not the easiest at the best of times. I speak this from experience while trying to get people to go to BitChute and or Rumble. It's not as easy as one might think. However, there is a positive to going to places like Kick, especially when you know monetarily you benefit from it, but then you have to wonder whether Kai's loyalty to Twitch would be why he would stay there. Other Twitch streamers in the past have left the platform, gone to alternative sites, they have crumbled, and then come crawling back. Does Kai want to do that as well? The other issue really is that Twitch aren't transparent. They never have been. I stream on Twitch, by the way. We all have to be very careful how we toe the line. Because of that concern, we always run the risk of not knowing why it is we were banned. And that happens quite a lot. Recently, they just gave back the ability to stream to Indy Fox, but it took years for them to give her any kind of leeway, but not to give her information as to why in the first place. Bear in mind here, some streamers have gotten away with doing some rather heinous things, others have made a mistake and been yeeted. There is no consistency. And for somebody who had achieved a milestone only ever done twice before, 300,000 subscribers by the way, which is paid for, not followers, very different on Twitch. Follow is free, a subscription is not, whereas here, a subscription is free. By all means hit the sub button, we're hemorrhaging subs. It is equally quite impressive that not long after doing that, a suspension was issued. Can we stop calling it a ban now please? Because it's really not. Let's move on from this and talk about the UN's rather unique interpretation of what is acceptable in the form of adult-child relationships. Courtesy of Count Dankula. Hey at UN, what's going on here big guy? Included is one image taken from a report. Now Dankula's tweet is a retweet of Amuse, who tweeted the United Nations issued this report calling on member nations to decriminalize sex between adults and minors. Should adults be allowed to convince kids to perform sex acts with them? The UN says yes. Included UNAIDS.org resources. Oh, so it's official then. Dankula's image. Oh dear God. Well, we're gonna go there first. Principle 16, consensual sexual conduct. Consensual sexual conduct, irrespective of the type of sexual activity, the sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity or gender expression of the people involved, or their marital status, may not be criminalized in any circumstances. Consensual same-sex as well as consensual different-sex sexual relations or consensual sexual relations with or between trans, non-binary and other gender-diverse people or outside marriage, whether premarital or extramarital, may therefore never be criminalized. All seems legit so far. With respect to the enforcement of criminal law, any prescribed minimum age of consent to sex must be applied in a non-discriminatory manner. Enforcement may not be linked to the sex, gender of participants or age of consent to marriage. Moreover, sexual conduct involving persons below the domestically prescribed minimum age of consent to sex may be consensual in fact, if not in law. In this context, the enforcement of criminal law should reflect the rights and capacity of persons under 18 years of age to make decisions about engaging in consensual sexual conduct and their right to be heard in matters concerning them. Pursuant to their evolving capacities and progressive autonomy, persons under 18 years of age should participate in decisions affecting them, with due regard to their age, maturity, and best interests, and with specific attention to non-discrimination guarantees. Whoever wrote this report needs to go to prison. Whoever wrote this report needs to be introduced to a serrated dildo. I'll sign it and see how long it takes you to rub my name off. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I had to cut that bit out. Yeah. That image comes from a report from the 8th of March, titled Criminal Law Prescribing Conduct Associated with Sex, Reproduction, Drug Use, HIV, Homelessness, and Poverty, penned by the International Commission of Jurists, the ICJ by the way, which is composed of 60 judges and lawyers from all regions of the world. 60 judges who need to be removed from office post-haste. In the foreword, it claims that the principles are based on general principles of criminal law and international human rights law and standards. They seek to offer a clear, accessible, and workable legal framework, as well as practical legal guidance on applying the criminal law to conduct associated with sexual and reproductive health and rights, consensual sexual activities, including in contexts such as sex outside of marriage, same-sex relations, adolescent sexual activity, and sex work. I don't need to go through the rest. That's the part that we all want to talk about, isn't it? Now, I took the liberty of going through the majority of this report, which I'll link down below if you're interested in reading it. It's only 32 pages, technically not, closer to 25. If you take all the nonsense at the beginning and end out, you are left with something to read or wipe your arse with, virtually. Principle 16, the consensual sexual conduct segment, falls under the Special Part 3 application to the criminalization of conduct associated with sex, reproduction, drug use, HIV, homelessness, and poverty. In that segment, it starts by talking about sex and reproductive health rights, abortion, sex work, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, HIV. It goes through a lot of it. But consensual sexual conduct can be interpreted a number of ways, and the way it is seen is as if it is legitimizing the idea that an adult can get with certain children of certain ages if they display certain mature characteristics. When you see a report like this and you go through all of it, you can tell these people are well and truly out of touch with how to frame something without having to use such complicated language to get a point across. But also, because they haven't closed a certain door, they have implied it is okay when it is not okay. And to be clear, if an individual is not of the prescribed minimum age of consent in the country where they have been violated, it is called statutory rape. Up until this point, I hadn't realised the UN were funded by NAMBLA. Earlier in the week, I made a video on Just Stop Oil. A couple things concerning Just Stop Oil and a little thing on Extinction Rebellion. I mentioned within it the Snooker World Championships. One of the protesters ran onto the table at the Crucible and threw orange powder all over the table. The man in question is called Edred Whittingham, a politics, philosophy and economics student at Exeter University. Could you be any more middle class? Edred Whittingham. Look at your crappy degree, you can't even stick to one subject. The eco-zealot has a history of radical behaviour. Last year, they were jailed for blockading the Kingsbury Oil Terminal and also arrested after gluing his hand to a painting at Manchester Art Gallery. He claims to have been arrested 6 times and that he has spent weeks behind bars in the past, and in an effort to encourage donations to support his protests, writes on his website, "Help me stay afloat and stop this. My living costs are quite low and any support you can offer means I can focus on my activism rather than needing to get a job in a pub." 2 issues from that already. 1, there's nothing wrong with working in a pub. In fact, there's nothing wrong doing any job anywhere. 2nd, you're a grifter. Okay. Edred also offers 4 levels of monthly subscriptions to pay for beer, phone bills, groceries, exclusive posts from his protests. It sounds like OnlyFans for eco-zealots. Membership levels are called Highway Obstruction, which is level 1. Level 2 is Aggravated Trespass, level 3 Criminal Damage, and 4 is called Public Nuisance Conspiracy. He's also claimed in an interview via an appearance on GB News that he didn't want to have children on moral grounds, because he can't guarantee that there will be a habitable planet for them to grow up into. Right. Because a straight woman is knowingly going to sleep with you. It is as likely as you getting a job in a pub, which you consider the lowest form of employment apparently. You fall into the bracket of natural selection, dipshit. The kind where the world has naturally selected you to be its eunuch, its avatar for sexless life. If you're lucky, things like Krypton will exist and you can just have a partner and a child created for you. You just need to spit into a tube. We all knew you were a posh twat from the offset because you invaded a snooker venue. Snooker! I love snooker, but not that much. Although I do want to go to the Crucible at some point. But to then find you have a ridiculously posh forename and surname, you study one of the most pointless and pretentious degrees imaginable. I'm just impressed that the fact you're an e-begging prick surprised me. One last point. Because you're not having kids, not because of moral grounds, I can promise you that. When you have to brag about your criminal record, you come across as a typical middle-class kid trying to fit in with the hoodlums. Yeah, yo, children, gangsters, I'm OG as well. I'm from the hood of Exeter, where I walk down those streets with my khakis sagged ever so slightly, so you might just see my stuck-on tramp stamp.